Welcome to Toffee TV. Let's talk about Ross Barkley. He ain't going to Holland. Well, he's not gone to Holland. He's staying at home with an injury again. Missed out in Tanzania. I feel for the lad. Missing out on quality air miles.
Can he not be treated in Holland?
I don't know. These are the great conundrums. But obviously Spurs linked with him. Heavily linked with him. 50 million has been touted, and Spurs probably rightly don't want to pay that for a player in the last year of his contract. It probably isn't worth 50 million anyway. He's not worth 50 million. Where do we see this going? Because it just is at the moment completely at a standpoint, isn't it? The manager said at the end of last season, effectively, if he didn't sign a contract, he was finished at the club. He hasn't signed a contract, so how do we see it progressing?
I think he'll go to Spurs.
Yeah.
I just think there was murmurings that he was going to stay and sign a contract for up to the last few weeks, but there's definitely been a change. I suppose every day it goes on, it looks less likely that he's going to stay.
Yeah.
And I just don't know whether Ronald Koeman bothered whether he stays, and I think that's probably part of the problem.
I think the business Everton have done this summer, we've been really efficient with it. You know, we've set our targets. That was surely, if Ronald Koeman wanted to keep Ross Barkley, that's surely, you know, it should have been boxed off during the season really, and obviously Koeman said that if he didn't sign then he would be sold. But I agree, I think Tottenham's interest, I think it's going to be one of them that it drags on. But the longer it goes on, you can't see now, how does he sign this contract? What's changed for him to suddenly to sign it? I think it seems like it's done. It's come to an end. And for me, I think Everton should be actively looking for that bidder now, so to help our season. That we've signed players that can play in his position, unfortunately, and you know we've all loved him. He's a blue. He's been a really good player for us. But now you look at the team and you do question, where does he get in? And it's just, if there is a club like Tottenham that are willing to pay, they'll probably hurt when I see him in a different team's kit. But you just look at it and it's dragged on, and you just think this is a new Everton wanting to go places. If Koeman said all those months ago, if he doesn't go, you know, he's going to be transfer listed, then you know what, we need to start setting the wheels in motion now. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, whether an ultimatum's been given, but it needs to be sorted one way or the other now.
If he doesn't sign the contract, do you think this is how it will continue? And if he doesn't leave, do you think this is how it will continue? Just he's not in squads?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's a case of Barkley wanting more money, wanting ambition. I think it's just a personal thing that Ronald Koeman perhaps doesn't rate him compared to other players. I think it must be tough for Ross Barkley to have, you know, Roberto Martinez absolutely loved him, didn't he? Gave him a free role. It must have done his confidence so much good, and then Koeman coming in is the complete opposite.
But yet, I think Koeman got the better out of him by playing him off the right when Coleman was playing.
3 months after Christmas, I think he was Everton's best player by quite a distance, and I've never really been a Ross Barkley fan, but I couldn't stop singing his praises at times last season. But I just think, in terms of the impasse now, there's something there. It's like I say, I don't blame Barkley if he doesn't feel that he's going to get in the team, or whether the manager doesn't rate him. It must be difficult, you know. So it's got to be sorted one way or the other. But I don't see him signing the contract now. It's gone on too long.
Yeah, I think he's been badly advised, and I think it's got to the stage now where there is no way out for him. Because, like you've said, I don't even know if that contract's still on the table now. Do you know? So so you're wondering, you go, how does this get reversed? Even if Everton announced it tonight, Ross Barkley signs a new 5-year deal, I'll be made up. Don't get me wrong, be made up, but he's pissed off a large section of Evertonians who, let's be honest, he misplaces a pass and there's a section of Evertonians who are on his back regardless. So he's making it more difficult, and he might just feel, you know what? Yeah. He might just look and go, it's time for me to move on now. I love the club. I'm an Evertonian, but I might do better at a different club.
Because it has moved on. Because I remember, you know, we sat here a couple of years back, or maybe 2 or 3 years back, and we were talking about the future of Everton being Romelu Lukaku, Ross Barkley, John Stones, Gerard Deulofeu. He's the last one, and he looks like he's on his way out. The club has completely moved on from that point of view. So I think it is completely different. Do you think as well that maybe one of the reasons is a lot of money gets talked, and we've talked about money in other videos and how the value of it is completely changed? Do you think maybe the contract he's been offered basically shows his value is at Everton now? You know, maybe he's took that on board. Now, the figure that gets thrown around is £100,000 a week. I've got no idea if that's true or not. Most people probably won't either. But in terms of how that puts him in the valuation of others, maybe he looks at that and just goes, well, therefore I am valued as not one of the top players at this club, which is ridiculous, £100,000 a week. But do you know what I mean? And maybe that's what's gone. He's gone, that's the figure. I would think I would be around £150,000 a week. Again, madness. And that's part of the motivation.
Because like I said, I think he was our best player between Christmas and around April time. He's the best player. So if other players are being offered more, and especially new signings, then you know he's well within his rights to want the same money. So we obviously there's so much things that we don't know about. It could be, there could be so many factors. But I agree, if he is only being offered 100,000 and others are being offered more, and then there's a club like Tottenham in the Champions League, finishing second in the league. As we said, the Merseyside bubble, we don't know what that's like. It must be going on the football pitch, having everyone put your hopes on you, and then large sections getting on your back if you misplace a pass. That must be so difficult to contend with.
And I suppose the city life going on, he's not without his problems, has he? In the last, in April, around April time, he had a couple of issues, didn't he? Out and about. I don't know. Maybe, maybe he just wants out. Maybe that's what it is, isn't it? We can't understand it because we're Evertonians and we're sitting here going, £100,000 a week.
I do understand it though. I'll be honest, I do understand the motivation for one to leave. It might be. I remember we had the conversation last Christmas, right? And there was no talk of me even offer the contract, and the actual talk was in the media. Ross Barkley has to earn a new contract at Everton. That was the talk coming out. That seemed to be, you don't know where it comes from, but that seemed to be the talk. Earn that new contract, and then he had those when he sort of clicked in that position off the right, with Seamus bombing up, and it all seemed to be falling into place. And then he got the offer, but it's what's happened, I suppose, between him and the manager. Now, not every manager and player gets on, but I think as an all-round player, he was, Ronald Koeman made him better last season. Defensively, things like set pieces where he was heading the ball left, right, and centre. Those little things that made him an all-round better player. I think he got made better, but
I don't think it's even a case of him not getting on with Koeman. I think there's a mutual respect between the player and the manager. But it's just if Koeman's not gonna play him, or if he is going to be so vocal in the media, then I don't think Barkley is going to take too kindly.
But the way he's not going to play him, where does that come from though? Because he played every game for us. He scored the winner against the last home game.
I just take it from Koeman said that he needs to do more productivity, more closing down, and then you see the players that we've brought in, and a lot of them are.
But he might blend better with them.
Well, exactly. Better players.
I suppose it's. You all have your ideas, don't you, as people in life, how your career's going to go, and he might just look and go, I need a fresh start, I need a different, the
thing is, Rooney's proved this week that moving clubs doesn't stop you being an Evertonian. He might prefer to look at Everton from a distance, because maybe Everton are better without him, Barkley's better without Everton. You never know what he's thinking.
I think that the thing I find funny is people's opinions of him, like certainly on social media, of if he goes to Tottenham, he's never going to get in there. What right? And you're like, if he goes to Tottenham, it's because Tottenham won him, and Tottenham think he can get in there, not just because he sat on Twitter giving your opinion about. It's almost like, how dare he want to leave us? He's not good enough for Spurs.
Well, he could be sitting on the bench for us, or sitting on the bench for Spurs.
Well, that's what I mean. He might be
getting Champions League games.
The people who've been sniffing around him are all top clubs. And the 50 million did put a few off. It hasn't put Spurs off. But
the only thing that stops him being a world-class player, I think, is his know-how with the ball. I think technically he's as good as Rooney.
Oh, technically he's
absolutely perfect. But it is just like we said
decision making.
The goal Rooney scored again in Tanzania, just that little drop off. I don't see Barkley having that know-how. The little things that Rooney does, that little bit of extra quality. I don't think Barkley's had that, and I think, but as we've said, the players around him haven't been top quality either, and that could play a part in it.
I've said for years, technically he's better than Dele Alli, miles better than Dele Alli, but Dele Alli's got a better football brain, and is a better player because he contributes all the time, whereas Ross, on his day, he's unplayable. For me, Ross, he's fantastic, he'll dictate, but then the next week a kid can't pass a ball 3 yards.
A lot of people have said about his mentality as well, haven't they?
I mean, I don't know him personally, so I wouldn't know.
Well, maybe that might help. If you go to get out your comfort zone, going into London, and maybe the Dele Alli factor is that he's looked at Dele Alli and gone, look at this young lad, look how well he's doing in this setup. Maybe that's something I need, because I suppose he's at a bit of a crossroads in his career now. He's 24. He wants to play in the Champions League, and fair enough, that's his right. He could, Spurs are already there, and he's thinking, do I take that chance, go and play for someone who's in the Champions League now, or do I stick and commit maybe some of my best years to Everton Football Club and maybe not improve as a player that I want him? Maybe he wants to improve as a player in a different way to the way Ronald Koeman wants him to improve as a player, and maybe that's. And if that's what Ross Barkley wants, then fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? Fair play. If he wants to be technically better and proper number 10 who plays off the striker, then fair play. Whereas maybe if Koeman wants to round into more, all-round footballer, maybe that doesn't interest Ross Barkley. And if that's the case, then fair play. If he's already spoke to people at Spurs, which he might have already had. If he has, he has. I'm not asked. I'm not going to call it tapping up or whatever. And they've said to him, this is what we see. Now it's going to be tough because we've got good players, but you are going to get games where you will play in the Champions League. You will get to test yourself. You might go, I fancy a bit of that. I fancy it.
I find this one really interesting as well, because as we said, there are sections of the fan base that do get on his back. But if he goes, I don't think, when he returns to Goodison, not one person will boo him. And I find that really weird. I don't think they will. I don't think in the past.
Boo him now when he's got a shirt on.
Yeah, but I think but they wouldn't boo him to say you didn't stay. And I find that really, peculiar. That in the past we have had players that have dug their heels in to get the move, and with Ross, because we've not had any info on it, it's just literally he hasn't signed a contract. There's nothing has been leaked at all about what the situation is, and so I think Blues are still very much behind him and wanting him to stay.
I think some people will see it as rejection.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. People might.
Do you not think on social media and stuff it hasn't been as vote? It's still more.
He tweeted yesterday for the first time, and then did you read some of the replies?
I read some of them, and they were
about to tennis, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sign your fucking contract, dickhead.
Well, people will say that, won't they?
So you're gonna get the same. You're gonna get that, aren't you?
I just feel like to me, it just feels different this time. That people, like you said, fair play to him if that's what he wants to do. Now, in the past, when Wayne Rooney, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to play Champions League.
But I suppose Ross has been in our first team for 7 years.
That's the thing.
Hasn't he?
Yeah,
he gives
exactly.
Us years, and
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying credit to him, and
there's another factor in here though. Is that someone who he was very close to has been bitching about getting away for months and months and months and has finally gone.
Mm-hmm. Well, that goes back to the saying about the players before. They were the players he was all close with, and he probably looks at John Stones and he'll look at Romelu Lukaku and actually go, well, it's not that bad. It's not that big a leap. Life doesn't change that much when you sign for a new team. You just have new teammates, and you'll find new mates like you would in any walk of life. Yeah. If you leave a job, you're in any work, and you think, oh, these people are great, and then you leave somewhere else, you get new friends. You don't automatically go, I wish I was back there with them fellas, they were boss, because that's life.
I think the longer this goes on as well, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Man City or a Chelsea take interest. Because he's English.
I've been very interested in.
Yeah, because the English quota, it's such a, he's obviously technically very good, and maybe they can look, and as we said, maybe they think, well, we can get the best out of him.
I'd see him more at City than Spurs. If I was just looking at it, because of John Stones, is just, he's out with him quite a lot, allegedly. But I would see him fitting in with Guardiola. However, Spurs have been the ones who've been making the biggest play for him for months and months and months now. So
I think that's another factor, isn't it? Spurs have probably been interested when Everton haven't been interested. And I think that's a big thing. And listen, people talk about him. He seems like a nice sort of quite sensitive lad.
Yeah.
But if someone is actually, you know, telling you they really like you, that's a pull. That's probably been a pull for half of our signings this summer. It's been
especially though when your own manager isn't saying those things.
I mean, I'll make a statement now. I think he's made his mind up that he wants to leave Everton. I think that's a fact.
I don't think it's he wants to leave Everton. I think he feels he needs to.
No, well, that's sort of the same. I think he wants to leave Everton. If people want to take that personally, as an Evertonian, that's up to them. I don't take it personally.
No,
I just think the way things have worked out in the last year, it might just be best for everyone.
I think the thing is, you got to look at where we were going, what was happening. Look, you think of the way we play. We weren't really getting anywhere, where we had Lukaku and Barkley. We haven't even got anywhere really. We had 2 years of 11th, and okay, we finished 7th last season. And maybe we all need that different makeup in our team to watch the way we play. Ideally, I want him to stay. I still want him to stay now, because I believe that he's got a lot to offer, and I believe with front men who move and can control the ball, that we'd get more out of Ross. I think if he had options, which is why I think he'll thrive if he goes to Spurs.
I think he'd benefit from competition as well in the team.
But if he, like you said, if he believes that he needs to move, then that's the way it is, isn't it? He's had to go, hasn't he? We've had 7 years out of him, okay, not consistently, but he's been here a while, and he might just feel that the time has come.
I also feel that I think he looks to me like a frustrated player. Like he expected his career to go one way because of the ability he's got, and it hasn't gone that way because different reasons. But maybe he's never. I remember listening to him one day, and he said, "I actually see myself as a forward." Now that has a lot of different connotations in it, but maybe he just sees. Maybe he sees that his career is going down one road. If he doesn't quickly get it back, you know, to another side. How many players have we seen that you think they're going to be one kind of player, and then a manager changes them slightly, and then another manager might change them, and they end up going miles away from where they were. Well, that's for a positive way, but
but I'm just saying.
But it does happen that some players get so far away from what their original path is, and they've been unable to stop. Maybe this is his way of resetting himself. And because he'll look at it and go, I think I'm better than him. You've just mentioned Dele Alli. I'm thinking I'm better than him, but for whatever reason, maybe if I'd been put as the second striker behind Lukaku for 4 years, maybe I'd be amazing. But people keep on tinkering with me position and stuff. But partly that's down for him because he hasn't had that consistency. But maybe
he's never going to get what he wants from us because we haven't got that.
Do you reckon he would take a step down to a West Ham or a Newcastle if he's out the team? Because I've seen that quite a lot from different people, and so I don't think he would.
I think he only leaves if he goes to someone who's above us.
Yeah, I do.
I think if he looked at his options, it was West Ham, Newcastle, Southampton, Swansea, whoever it may be.
Yeah, because when I saw the Swansea link, I thought there's absolutely no chance.
At the end of the day, if he goes to Spurs or he goes to Man City, he is going to play Champions League football. Yeah. Guaranteed, he'll play at some point.
And he will play, whether we like it or not. It's a step up at the minute.
He will be playing Premier League games because of the amount of fixtures. He will probably play more. If you're going to buy Ross Barkley, you're playing Ross Barkley in the position he wants to play in. You're not buying him to say, well, we're buying you, but we're going to put you on the right, or we're going to put you on the left, or we're going to try you in this position. You're going to put him in the position that he'll already had those conversations. This is where I see you playing. I see you playing either instead of Dele Alli at times, or instead of Eriksen. You know, they're the two big ones, aren't they? You will be in one of those two positions. He'll have had those conversations, and that might excite him. You know, look at Spurs going into a new stadium. He's playing at Wembley all season for a start if he does go to Spurs. So I can understand why those things would excite you. Yes, it might be a big wrench leaving his club, but listen, it's not always the end of the world.
No.
He is a footballer. He's a professional, and maybe he's starting to think professionally.
It's interesting as well, isn't it, that the 4 players that we had, Stones, Lukaku, Delafeu and Barkley, we've all said they've got weaknesses, but they've all gone up.
I think that just shows you that was a shite team. No, it just shows you, doesn't it? The weaknesses, obviously, the managers felt individually he could work on them, but listen, he's got rid of 3 of them or potentially could get rid of 3 of them in one summer. He wasn't that bothered about losing John Stones. Didn't lose any sleep about losing John Stones. So he's building the team in his image, and I think that's the most important thing. That a manager not only does that, but has the power to do that. And he's completely restructured. So I think losing Ross Barkley is more a sign of Everton moving forward.
We've lost the sentimentality that we always had, I think, as well.
And it's a big thing is because we were always terrified that we couldn't replace them. But you lose that once, you can replace them. I think that's a big factor.
So many Blues, we've all seen Lukaku in the United shirt, and it's not even, it's just, so what?
That really is, that's the top and bottom of it. If this had happened, imagine this summer, like 2 years ago even, Delafeu, Lukaku, Barkley going up the door, you'd just be like... And then you go, we've lost them, and then where's the money going, and who are we going to replace them with, and there's all those factors. To be honest, I'll be honest, I think the only player I'd would really upset me, well, 2 players who would upset me if I seen him play another shirt, is Tom Davies and Seamus Coleman. As much as I've ripped Seamus Coleman, I still think he's fucking proper bloke.
Baines to do for me.
Baines,
I don't know, but not
the talk of Man U was horrible.
Yeah, it was there. I don't know if I'd be that bothered now
because he'd go downwards now, wouldn't
he?
But it's when they go
Coleman. So how would you be bothered?
What?
Coleman.
Coleman's still. I think Coleman's only 28.
28.
He's still. If he comes back and he was good, he's still got something to give. Whereas I think Baines, it would disappoint me, but not as So I'm lying. I just lied on camera.
Funes Mori.
Oh my god! If I seen Funes Mori wearing someone else's shirt while barbecuing, I would. I think I'd probably do a lap round the car park in the Nach celebrating. So, don't make that happen.
Don't leave, Funes. But if you do, just don't barbecue.
Just don't barbecue in shirts. Don't do a Diego Costa and go on the island and after it's come with his shirt. Which is amazing.
He really wants out.
Yeah, he really, really wants to go. Yeah. Do you have it? Give us your thoughts on Ross Barkley. Would you be gutted to see him leave? And why do you think, he wants to go? Let us know. Answers on a postcard. I still do postcards.
Lovely.
Send it to our P.O. box. Still do P.O. boxes? No, just leave
I'm more important. Have we got one?
Not that I know of. Unless you've opened a secret one for your mail order stuff.
Hey, you mentioned the P.O. box.
The
Ped only box. That's what I was saying.
Baz, Baz, right, gets all the Sunday magazines on the papers and buys all those plates with Spitfires on and gets them sent to a secret P.O.
What's that? issue 12 of 900 to build the Millennium Falcon.
2D2.
That's what it was, yeah.
It cost 1,800 quid.
Yeah, amazing.
That's what I
get.
When you go on the magazine, you see like the Liverpool cuckoo clocks. Have you seen them? Have you ever seen them? Like in the back of the Sunday magazines?
I have Sunday magazines.
I don't, but when I go to my mum and dad's, my dad's always got loads. Like
that old
not Liverpool cuckoo clocks.
That old chestnut. I was going to say, what's he doing with them?
No. Just get them,
smash
them up.
Oh, okay.
There you have it. Let us know what you've bought on the back of a Sunday magazine. We know what we will actually get genuine people telling us what they've bought as well.
Genuine people.
Genuine people. Not fake people.
Not fake people.
Genuine people.
Okay.
Not like there you go.
End up.
Yeah, there you go.
Done?
Yeah.
Are we done?
We're done.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.